is the 7th installment in the DC Extended Universe, 4th by my account, because that and that do not count at all in my universe. Shazam follows Billy Batson, an orphan who is taken in by his foster family, and enters a new realm where there's a wizard named Shazam. Shazam gives Billy the power of himself, Shazam, and Billy becomes a superhero, and now he has to fight a malevolent creature in spirit and villain, and we have a superhero movie, a really, really good superhero movie. Finally! I can say that about a DC Extended Universe movie. This is a great movie, and I am really, really happy that this might be my favorite film of the DC Extended Universe. I was toying with this and Aquaman. I had Aquaman above it for a while, but I did sleep on it last night because I walked out of this movie actually disappointed. But then the more I thought about the movie, I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to give it the grade I was originally going to give it. I can say that. This movie has a lot of heart. It's got a lot of emotion, and I really like that about Shazam. It's something that a lot of the previous DC movies didn't have. To an extent, Aquaman didn't really have this either. There's just so much there. You care so much about the character of Billy Batson. He's so well developed. He's fleshed out. He's so relatable, and he's just likable, too. That's the thing. Zachary Levi as Shazam. That dude's awesome. I love the dialogue he has. I will take your finest beer, please. Hey, thanks, guys. I'm a superhero. That line in the trailer was always my favorite line. I love the part where he just starts electrocuting everybody's phones. He's like, your phone's charged. Your phone's charged. That's the best part. The humor, it's great. It takes a more lighthearted, satirical approach to the superhero genre. And while not parodying it, it does crack fun at it without making fun of the superhero genre. And that's something that Shazam nails really well. I love how they just take all the superhero tropes and it's just like, yeah, we're gonna do that, but we're gonna do it in a way that really hasn't been done before, and we're just gonna kind of joke about it. His sidekick, Freddy, that kid is awesome, and the kid that plays him, Jack Dylan Glazier, I think is his name. He's really good in the movie, too. Everybody in this movie does a really good job. It's the fact that Shazam and Billy Batson himself are really likable. They're really relatable. They're well fleshed out. The movie takes a more light-hearted, satirical approach to the superhero genre than we're used to. I thought that worked wonders for this movie. This movie is also directed very well. It's directed by David F. Sandberg, who did Lights Out, and I believe he did Annabelle Creation. I haven't seen Annabelle Creation, so fact check me on that, please. This is another example of DC and Warner Brothers just letting the director do his own thing, because they would interfere so much before, and then when James Wan came on to Aquaman, he was like, no, don't you frickin' dare, this is my movie, this is what I want to do, and they're like, okay, we gotta roll with it, I guess. Look at how Aquaman turned out for them. It made over $1 billion. So why mess with a director's vision? This is the vision that David F. Sandberg had, and it worked. It's not really an action-heavy movie, and that's what I really like about it. Everything about the foster home, dealing with Billy Batson, there's an aspect of the movie where he's trying to find his biological mother. All of that was really heartfelt. It was done really well. It brought a lot of emotion and trust and vulnerability to this character. Everything in the other dimension in Shazam's dimension, I thought that was done really well as well. And Mark Strong gives a great performance. There's a few new aspects here that we haven't really seen in a superhero movie that I really appreciated, but at the same time, and I thought that when Shazam shows up, the best parts of Shazam are when he's trying to figure out his powers. It's not when all the big cool action stuff is going down. That's not when he's the best. The best is when he's trying to figure out his powers, like the flight test. That part's hilarious. All the powers he and Freddy are trying to figure out that he has, like that's what makes this movie so charming, and the humor lands really well. This is definitely the funniest of the DC Extended Universe movies. It's definitely the most lighthearted, while it also has a darker tone. But I never found that those tones suddenly shifted or conflicted with each other. They did a very good job balancing the darker tone with the lighter tone. David F. Sandberg managed that very well. It's kind of like what David Yates did with the Harry Potter series. He was able to balance the humor and then all of the dark, gritty stuff in the background through Order of the Phoenix, through Deathly Hallows Part 2. He nailed it. He was able to balance those tones while keeping the magic of Harry Potter alive, and that's what David F. Sandberg really does with Shazam. He's able to balance the darker stuff with the lighter stuff, throwing some humor in there, throwing some much-needed humor in places you don't really expect expect. It seems like DC's really taken their model from Marvel and is being like, you know what, we actually have to make these movies fun again. That's what they did with Aquaman. I won't necessarily say Aquaman is a great movie, but it is definitely a fun, entertaining, B-grade cheese fest, and that's something I appreciated about Aquaman. It didn't take itself too seriously. I feel Shazam doesn't take itself seriously either, but it just takes it to a whole new level that Aquaman didn't. And I gotta say, once again, Best Worst Parent of the Year award goes to John Glover. That dude's in this movie. Love that guy. All the Smallville cred he gets. He's definitely staying with DC. I even love John Glover in Batman and Robin, even though he totally has a Nicolas Cage freakout moment and it's the greatest thing ever made, and nobody's going to argue with me against that, so that's my rant on John Glover's performance in Batman and Robin. You disagree with that?
I'm afraid you'll have to die.
But this movie is definitely not perfect. Something I really didn't like about this movie was its villain. That seems to be a common trend in superhero movies now, is that in most comic book movies now, the main criticism is that the villain is the weakest aspect. And the villain in this, Savannah, was the weakest aspect. He's played by Mark Strong. It has nothing to do with Mark Strong's performance. It has nothing to do with Mark Strong's presence. He's got all the screen presence, his performance is there, it's just the character itself is not developed, and his motivation is just dumb. I did not like his motivations at all. It's just, oh, I'm jealous. I want to get noticed. That's it. That's all that his character is. Seriously, that's all the main villain is. And I gotta say, some of the CGI, there's these creatures in here called the 7 Deadly Sins. These creatures, their CGI is not very good. It's not up to comic book movie standards, I would say. Their CGI is pretty bad. I honestly just don't want this image imprinted in my brain anymore, but it reminded me of that monstrosity. Get that image out of my brain. Don't want to think about that thing anymore, but that's what they look like. I'm done. Seriously. And then there were some references to other DC superheroes that I felt were just either too on the nose or there were too many of them, especially something in the very final scene of the movie where I was like, did we really need that? It's like they're trying to really disconnect this universe, but this movie feels like it's trying to reconnect the universe, because they said this cinematic universe isn't as connected anymore, but this movie tries to connect everything, it seems like, with all these references. Not previous events, it's just references to these superheroes where it's like, okay, I thought we were forgetting about a lot of this stuff, and then somebody shows up at the end, and I'm like, okay. All in all, though, I really did like Shazam. I think this is the best DC Extended Universe movie. This is one of my favorites of the year, to be honest with you, and I'm glad that I slept on this, because I was really disappointed walking out of the theater. But now that I had time to think about it more, I'm glad that I was able to enjoy this movie and come up with some new thoughts that I didn't really have yesterday. I didn't want to publish a dishonest review. My goal with this channel is to be honest, and I didn't want to publish a dishonest review where I gave Shazam a B-, because that was my original grade. I'm going to give Shazam an A-. Holy shit, that is the highest grade I've ever given a movie in the DC Extended Universe. By the way, I'd probably bump Aquaman up from a B- to a B+. So, I mean, that's saying something. The fact that Shazam is an A- and Aquaman is now a B+, DC's starting to kill it a little bit. They're starting to get back on track. Maybe getting rid of Zack Snyder was the best thing for this universe. I think it was. Guys, that is my review for Shazam. Thank you for watching. I will leave the links to my social media accounts in the description below, because apparently my official website is down. It's not working. Working on that. Gonna get it fixed. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.